traders, and welcome to our second episode on how to build a profitable bot using basic Bollinger Bands as the indicator. So, are you tired of watching charts? Why not just let a bot do all the work for you? I've been doing Forex trading for almost 15 years, and as technology has advanced, I've come to realize that automation is it's the way to go. Bots can work for you 24/7, right? And so all it takes is a little bit of effort to learn how to code your own bot. And in today's episode, we'll learn how to build your first bot or algorithm, right, using FxDreema. It's a powerful no-code builder. Right? It makes it really simple for you to create your bots, and we'll also show you how to run it on the MT4 platform. So just to learn the basics, firstly, let's recap what we want to build. Right. So this is the MT4 platform. In episode 1, we said that we wanted to build a profitable bot using Bollinger Bands. Okay, and the way we're going to build this bot to begin with is that we'll say that the moment one of the candles crosses below the lower band of the Bollinger Band, right, and then as the price crosses up the Bollinger Band, we're going to perform a buy. And then, of course, as the price crosses the upper band of the Bollinger Band and then crosses below the Bollinger Band, then we are going to sell, right? That's in the most basic principles that we want to build, right? And then from then on, we'll expand the bot, we'll build other strategies around it to, ensure it becomes a profitable bot at the end of the episodes. Okay. But first things first, let's introduce FxDreema to you. Now, FxDreema comes in a free version, and then of course it has some limitations on the number of blocks you can put on a canvas, or you can purchase number of credits, 6 months to a year, etc., and then allows you to have unlimited number of blocks. Okay. So just to navigate through what FxDreema is, I mean, of course, you can go on YouTube and find lots of tutorials. However, I'm just going to sort of quickly walk through a lot of the functionality that it's offered through FxDreema to allow you to, build your own automation. Now, what I found is that it's a lot easier to visualize what you're building, right? Versus and having control over the actual building blocks, okay? Versus using, chat GPTs, etc., right, to actually build the code for you, right? Unless you come from a strong development background, it's going to be fairly difficult for you to understand what the code is, right? So here's something simple that I put in ChatGPT. Build MQL5 code to build an EA. Place a buy order when the candle crosses below the lower Bollinger Band and cross above, and place a sell order when the candle crosses above the upper Bollinger Band, and if it crosses below the upper Bollinger Band, then take etc., with a stop loss of 40 pips and take profits after 50 pips, right? And there it is. He actually built me the code. Whether if it works or not, it's a different story. But more often than not, again, you don't want to be debugging code like this, right? It becomes very difficult sometimes with if you want to extend it, you really need to know a little bit of coding, MQL5 code, right? Going back to FxDreema, it is very simple, right? So let's go through it. Basically, you have an area where you can declare your constants, right? If you Constants are basically, static sort of variables that hold a particular value and they don't often change, right? So to begin with, every constant has a specific data type. Okay. Please do go to the FxDreema website to learn, what all the various types are. But for the purpose of these Bollinger Band bots, we started creating some basic, sort of constants. The EA name, we're going to call this bot EA MultiFX Bollinger Band version 1. I can reassure you there'll be many iterations of this bot as we progress. And, they'll become version 2, 3, 4, 5. And I'll show you guys best practice on when to actually save a new version. So in the event you make a mistake, you can always go back to the previous version. And that's the reason why it's important to have a good naming standard. This is the number of lots. So I called this constant lots, and I'll show you how it's actually visualized within the bot configurations when you deploy it to MT4. Then you've got SL pips, and which normally it's a very common constant used out there. Is stop loss, and TP pips is the number of pips for take profits. Then you've got the Bollinger Band period and the Bollinger Band deviation. These are the configurations for the indicator, the Bollinger Band indicator. And then you got reset mode at candle, right? Which you can also change the descriptions rather than having the actual these names, SL pips or TP pips. You can actually say stop loss, and you can say take profit, right? That's a more friendly username that will get displayed in the bot configurations. Be sure to always hit update, otherwise you will lose your most recent changes. Then you've got an area for the variables, right? In this instance, we're going. I've come up with a number of variables again that will help me drive the behavior of the bot itself. Okay. Right, so let's begin with the basics of how this bot will work. So basically, we have a block here that says no trade, right? If you ever want to find out more about what no trade means, you can use, the help button over here, and then you can find out more about what no trade means. Basically, what we're saying. Also, just in case you didn't know, when you hover over the no trade block, you click on this link, and it brings up an overview of what this is about. So the overview is checks whether there is no trade running at the moment. There are filter settings, so you can be very specific to which trades to look at, right? So the way we commence this bot is that firstly we look at are there any trades open, and then we're going to use a block that actually firstly it checks whether there are any open or not, and then put that into a variable. So in this instance, we going to set that variable to 0, and then we look at another block in which you can set the conditions to buy or sell, right? So it has to meet the conditions before you set another variable. Okay, so we'll explain this in more detail. So this block basically says pick on the candle, which is what you're trying to build. So you pick the candle, then you tell it that it's on the candle close, and the candle ID 1 is what you're looking for, and where it crosses below the indicator, in this instance the Bollinger Band, passing a couple of configurations, the period and the standard deviation, which in this instance is 2. The read and what you can see here is that we actually parameterizing or setting, the value of, passing it through the variables or the constants that we previously declared, right? And then that way allows you to change those configurations within the bot, which is pretty cool. It's really good, right? Then it says on that Bollinger Band, apply it to the close price, and the band mode is on the lower band on candle one. So basically, all we're saying here, right, just to summarize it, I know we covered a lot, is that we're saying candle one, right, on the close has to cross below the lower band of the Bollinger Band indicator, okay? And then you hit update, all right? And again, you do the same for the other side, which is on the sell side. What you're saying is basically on candle one has to cross above the upper band, right, for it to meet the condition. If those conditions are met, then we are ready to open up a trade, right? So we set a variable, right, to one, right? These are just flags that you can set to control the flow of the algorithm, and the number of events that need to take place. Then what we do is, if in the event either of these two conditions are met, then we check if that condition has been met, and until that condition is whilst that condition is true, per bar, meaning per candle, right, we're going to do a count on the number of candles, right, that have met that condition. And if there are no trades in place, because we have met that condition, it's going to go through this path here, right? And it will do two things. It will either meet that condition there, or it will meet the sell condition, right? So basically what we're saying on this area here is, when the candle number one crosses above the lower band, right, then we'll take a buy. Okay, so this is the building block for the buy, where you can specify, what kind of money management you want to enter as a buy. You can do it either a fixed volume, or there are other options in here. You can do it as a percentage of your equity, etc., etc. And there are many other options as well if you want to dive into doing martingale type strategies, or Fibonacci, etc. Right? It's for you to explore. How much? This is the number of lots, and you can set some configurations here on what your stop loss will be every time you put an entry on the market. You can actually specify your stop loss and your take profit as well, right? Good risk management on any bot. You have to ensure you have an entry order for a stop loss, or you take profits. And these are just other configurations that we can dive into later. But of course, please, every time you see a little question mark on top of some of these fields, you can click on them and learn more about what they actually are. Okay. And of course, we do the same for the sell side, where we're literally saying, because we're under check mode one, which means that the previous criteria has been met, right? For on the sell side, the moment candle number one crosses below the upper band, then we want to take a sell order, okay? And then all we're doing later on is that we're saving the number of lots into a variable, which then later gets put into a comments area, and we'll show you that in a second. And where it literally displays for you, you can display some of the values of those variables on the screen as the bot, runs. So such as the bot name or the balance, you can look at the equity, number of lots, the counts, etc., etc. Right? Okay. If you wanted to delete a particular comment, you can set that to the original value, remove that, and that pretty much clears those comments for you. All right, so let's have a look at the bot in itself, and let's see if we can make sense of all this and what it actually looks like on the actual bot itself. So I did run this bot earlier on, but as you can see here, what we're saying is that first the bot runs, right, and this bar here, crosses below the Bollinger Band, and then the next candle crosses above the Bollinger Band, right? We want to take a trade, and that's exactly what this bot has done, right? Takes the trade, and then of course it didn't continue in his trajectory, and then on the next bar he actually hit the stop loss, right? Which I think we said, depending on what you have configured on the bot properties, then that's your stop loss. Again, the bar went below the lower band, and on the next candle, it crossed the lower band, and so once that candle closes on the next candle, it takes the trade. And then, of course, it was a negative candle, and so he, he, he hit the stop loss, right? Lo and behold, eventually, the candle crosses the lower band again, and then it crosses it crosses the lower band on the upside, and it takes the trade again, right? That's ultimately what is trying to do. Okay, there is something that you really need to learn when it comes to candle IDs, right? So when we were referring over here to look for candle ID 1 where it crosses the lower band, what we're really saying is, all right, so assume we are on this candle here, so this will be candle 0, right? So let's move this. Okay, so to say that, ignore everything from, right? Pretend that this everything on the right hand side doesn't exist, right? So we're currently on this candle here, right? This is normally, and this candle is live, this will normally be candle 0, right? And then the candle right next to it, right? This will be candle 1. And then the candle right next to it, right? Programmatically, this is how you reference, not candle 3, I'm talking about. This is candle 2, and so forth, right? Candle 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So usually the candle that's live is the candle with an ID of 0, and so forth, right? When this candle closes, right, and the next candle opens, then the new candle becomes candle 0, and the previous candles, becomes candle 1, candle 2, candle 3, right, and so forth. So assume this is the new candle here, then this becomes candle 0, right? Hopefully you get in the drift. And then the candle prior to that becomes candle 1, and so forth, right? And then this one becomes candle 2, etc., etc., right? And then when this candle completes itself and a new candle appears, and that becomes candle 0, that becomes candle 1, candle 2, candle 3, right? So that's how you refer to here in the configurations within FxDreema. Okay, so that means candle 1. What we're saying is, when the criteria to be met is that to put in a buy, then this criteria has to be met where candle 1 crosses. So in this instance, candle 1, right? Candle 1, sorry, in this instance, it'll be candle. Oh, this is a little bit hard to explain. Apologies for that. But what we're saying is that candle one, right, has to cross below the lower band, and then as candle one again on this side, right, crosses above the lower band, which in this instance it did, right? It crossed above the lower band, then we take the trade, right? So I think it'll be easier if we now move on to executing the bot and seeing the bot run, and then it will make a lot more sense, right? So let's cover how we actually, once we've built the logic of the bot, how do we deploy it to MT4, and how do we test it to see that it's doing what it's meant to be doing. So what we do within FxDreema, this is pretty neat in that you can save the MQ4 file or the exe file, right? Equivalent, you can do this with MQL with MQ5, so that it works with MT4 MetaTrader platform. Okay, and so what I'll do is that I'll save this file. So hit that. It's currently processing, compiles the code, and then gives me an MQ4 file. I'm going to save it locally on my machine for now, right? Just replacing the existing version. And then what you do, okay, basically I'm going to copy that path, okay, and then in MT4, when you go to File, and then you open that Open Data folder, okay, this opens up the actual path of MQL4 of the MT4 platform. Go to the MQL folder, go to Experts, and then paste the MQ4 file that you just saved, right? So in our instance, it will be, I'm going to grab the file again where I saved it locally, okay? I'm going to go to the MQL4 folder, Experts, and then paste it in there and override if there is an existing version, okay? Now that it's in there in the MT4 Navigator pane, scroll down to Expert Advisors and hit refresh, okay? Wait for that to refresh. You'll see this flicker, and then find the actual Expert Advisor through the drop down, okay? And double click and it will select your Expert Advisor. Then go to Expert Properties, okay? And then these are those constants that I was referring to before. So this area here is basically this area here, right, where you can display the constants. So the E and name, the lots, the stop loss, the take profits, right? It's all this information here: the lots, the stop loss, the take profits, etc. Right? BB periods for the Bollinger Band configurations, and I've got a variable here to reset the number of counts after X number of times, and you'll see how this becomes useful down the track for this bot. So let's run the bot so you can see it live. So visually, this is how it works. Click on the visual mode here, put specified a date range that you want to run this. Pick your symbol, which refers to the currency you want to test this against. Select your period, so you want to run this on the 1 hour. Give it, I recommend to always give it some spread, right? Certain brokers have different spreads, so it's always good to mimic these as close as possible to what the real live markets are doing. There are some certain spreads depending on the time of the day, right? Some spreads narrow, and then sometimes during quiet hours the spread do open up a little bit more. I always use model for every tick as well. And there are reasons for doing that, because you want to make it more realistic to the actual real market as well. Then you hit start, okay, and it will open up a new window on the side. You can use this little sliding bar here to actually speed the way those bars get generated, right? If you hit Control G, removes the actual grid lines that you see on the chart. Hit the candlesticks. I like to use candlesticks. I'm just used to it for doing this for many years. Drag the Bollinger Band indicator onto the chart. Okay, make sure you got the 20 and the period 20 and the standard deviation of 2. Right, hit OK, and it draws that on the chart for you. Okay, zoom in a little bit so that you can see what's going on. And so I'm going to be using this little speed bar to speed up the rendering of those bars. Okay, so I'm going to go to the right a little bit, and you'll see the bars. I'm going to toggle them with my arrows just to see each bar being generated. You can see at the moment what it has done, right? One of the conditions have been met here, so it's gone count candle is become 1. So this is now candle 0. Remember how I was talking to you guys? What is really candle 1, 2, 3, etc., right? So this is candle 0. Now this has now become candle 1 because candle 0 is the actual live candle, right? The one that's moving. So now this is candle 0. That becomes candle 1, candle 2, candle 3, candle 4. Hopefully you understood that concept, right? And that's really important, especially when you're coding your own algorithms. So now what it has done is that it has taken the trade, okay, with, so look, it's only about 5 pips profit target and 10 pip stop loss, right? So as the market moves, what happens? Let's have a look, right? The market moves on the downside, right? Do remember this is a 20 period moving average, and the direction of the market at the moment is more likely to be on the downside than the upside, right? So we carry on. Let's see if we can find another trade. So remember this is candle 0, that's candle 1 at the moment, right? So let's have a look. Is there another trade? So there it is, right? There's another trade there. So now this is candle 0, right? The condition of this spot is, right, that there has to be a candle that crosses below the lower Bollinger Band, and then a candle that crosses above the lower Bollinger Band to then take the trade, right? That's what we have actually programmed this bot to do. And if so, then, the bot will take the trade to the upside. And if it hits target, well done. If not, it's going to hit the stop loss. Okay. Let's see if there are any sells for this bot. So always ensure that both the buy and the sell work. So let's look at an opportunity for a sell. So I'll let the bot run. All right, there we go. So we got a cross of the upper band for the Bollinger Band indicator, right? Here comes hopefully this is candle 0, and there was no trade on this instance, right? Because one of the criteria probably was not met. Let's see if there's another trade coming up. Oh, that's done it on the buy side. That's not what we want. Another one on the buy side because it's hitting the lower band of the Bollinger Band.